Hi, I'm Gabrielle Byrd, and you're listening to White Canes Connect.
Hey there, PA Federationists. Welcome to another episode of White Canes Connect, presented by the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania. My name is David Goldstein. I am the treasurer of the Keystone Chapter. Joining me today and sitting in for Lisa is Keystone Chapter First Vice President Stacie Lee. Stacie, how are you today?
I'm good, David. How are you doing?
I am doing great.
Always so happy to be here. And, even though I'm replacing Lisa, there's no replacing Lisa. But today's podcast, we have three lovely individuals, LyVette Byrd, Deneice Brown, and Gabrielle Byrd. They're for the Byrds Consulting LLC, and they're going to be talking more about their Women Heal for a Purpose conference that's happening in mid-October 2022. Deneice is one of our speakers. Gabrielle is a speaker and a committee member along with webmaster, and LyVette is the spearhead of this whole operation. So take a listen.
LyVette, Gabrielle, and Deneice, thanks so much for being with us today.
And thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
So wonderful to have you ladies on here. I know each of you personally, but I really am so excited that, you guys are going to be on this podcast to kind of talk more about the upcoming women's conference that you have. LyVette, I would love to start off with you. How did you get involved with the NFB and kind of the origin story of your business?
Well, I came through the National Federation for the Blind. It was first introduced to me by a mentor that I had, Katrina Towns, when I was associated with another organization. She introduced it to me and she became my mentor. But at that time, I was very, very busy and I just didn't see how the NFB could fit with what I was currently doing. And then as time progressed and my vision got a little bit more complicated, I should say, I had a opportunity to connect with the National Federation with the Blind, with the Keystone chapter, as well as speak with the president of the Greater Philadelphia chapter. And at that time, I joined the Keystone chapter, and then later on joined the Greater Philadelphia chapter, and participated in meetings, went to state convention last year, was excited about what I saw there and the connections that I made it intentional that I participated in the national convention this year that was held in New Orleans. And I've been connected ever since. That's how I got connected with the National Federation for the Blind. Before my blindness, I started a company called For the Byrds Consulting. And when I first started it, it was like rockets, going forward, progressing. We did a lot of consulting on education. We did consulting on events planning. We did consulting on a number of different things. And then as time and family grew, it got pushed back in the corner somehow. But during COVID, it has been reignited. And we have not a different purpose, but we're intentional about our purposes now. And so we have a couple of new projects on the table, but For the Byrds Consulting, as I say, sometimes when I pinch myself, is a real thing and it's happening and it's growing leaps and bounds minute by minute. And I'm excited about what we're doing and what we're doing in the community.
Let's just take a step back. So you were sighted for a good portion of your life, or were you partially sighted? How? Why don't you take us through that?
Yes. So I had vision for 50 years, 20/20 vision for 50 years. I am a diabetic. And so I was always told that, my eyesight was a sensitivity when it came to my diabetes. But with all my doctor's appointments, them checking on my eyes, they saw some diabetic retinopathy, but I was still seeing at 20/20, everything was fine. And then on July 15th, 2017, my son's 29th birthday, I woke up totally blind. Couldn't see a thing. And That was the day that I was throwing him a party. So going to the hospital wasn't an option in my book. We had a party. Everything went well with that. I later on went to the hospital and I was told that my diabetic retinopathy took my eyesight overnight from 2020 to no vision at all in my left eye, with a torn retina that had to be repaired. And then in my right eye, legally blind with the vision in my right eye. And so since that time, my vision has come back some in my right eye to that standing, but this is where we are with it.
So you had surgery to repair the detached retina. Was that helpful or no?
No. So from what I was told, David, is that they reattached the retina just so that my eye wouldn't wander and it would be fixed. But because of all of the vessels and everything that goes into seeing and connecting the sight with the brain, they currently didn't have anything in place that would give me my vision back at all in my left eye. It's just the eye that just won't see again, from what I'm told. And we currently now monitor my right eye extensively every couple of months to see if there's any changes. And then every now and then I have to have some injections or a procedure on it just to maintain the vision so that it doesn't get worse.
I know I've mentioned it here before. Having the surgery to repair a detached retina was my worst surgery of my life. And I've had a bunch of surgeries, and I can't imagine having to go through that just to keep your eye from wandering, to go through that week or so of laying a specific way. And that was the surgery itself to be as painful as it was, at least for me, it was the most painful and the worst to recover from in my life. And to do that it's almost a cosmetic thing to stop people from saying, hey, what's up with that eye? It's certainly not helping you. It doesn't matter to you whether it wanders or not. I'm guessing, right?
Right. For me, it didn't matter if it wandered, but so this is how it worked for me. They didn't know that my eye was detached. My retina was detached prior to the surgery. Initially, the surgery that I had was to go in and clean up some of the blood from the spillage.
Okay.
And so they went to clean up the blood. And then when they cleaned it up as much as they could, they had some problems because they found out that the retina was detached.
Gotcha.
And while they were in there, they reattached the eye. And
Okay.
I told with you, David, it was the worst ever, playing a specific way and then tilting your head to the left or to the right. I don't know about you. It caused me such great pain. It's a week of sleep because I just needed to be asleep just so that I wasn't in pain and I wasn't uncomfortable.
Right. Just laying in bed was horrible for me. I had to lay on my side, and it was just awful. And then I had some sort of vertigo from it. And then my kids would laugh at me as I was for that 1 hour I was allowed out of bed each day. I was walking down a hallway and I was holding on like I was on a ship that was in stormy weather, trying not to fall down. So I just can't imagine going through that. And really the end result wasn't at least a little bit of sight. So let's get back to For the Byrds Consulting. So when you launched it initially, what types of things were you consulting for? What were you doing in it?
Event planning, and then a lot of community events. I used to hold a lot of community parties and bringing together the artists, poetry, song, dance, bringing the community together, finding out what the community needed in my area. And at that time when it launched, I lived in Logan, finding out what the community needed, then have a party where all of these artists would come and participate, but then they would also bring gifts for whatever the need was for the community, and we'd give it out. And then because I just kept doing it, it's like, okay, well, LyVette, you got to put a name to this some kind of way. And I was encouraged to do a business in and around it, because on the side of that, people say, oh, you're a great party planner, you should start doing that. And, oh, you're great at this, you should start doing that. And it was gifts and talents that I had. So I just put it up all under For the Byrds Consulting, made it a business, and went on from there. And it was a good business. But again, my children came, and then job opportunities shift, and more of the business got pushed to the side, because while it was entertaining and fun for me, there was no way I could wrap my brain around making a living at it full time where I could make it go at that time. And so that got pushed to the corner. And then I went in the fields of careers that I've been in since then, which has been in education, which has been in mental health, decades and decades in the mental health field, and the likes of that kind of stuff. But it's good.
Okay. So this is basically, when you started, it was kind of a side hustle.
When I started it, it was sort of kind of like a side hustle. And then I made it a business. I got all my paperwork in order, my fictitious names, and put it under the government with a legit ID, so that I could make it a business. It was a business.
Okay.
Started off as a wonderful hobby.
Let's fast forward to today, where we're here specifically to talk about your upcoming project. You want to talk a little about that?
Yes. And then I would like to say thank you to both Deneice Brown and Gabrielle Byrd, who was with us today. Deneice Brown, president of the Greater Philadelphia chapter of NFBFPA. And then Gabrielle Byrd, my daughter, but also one of the committee members. And then also to Stacie, who serves as the executive secretary for the Byrds Consulting. But today we are talking about Women Healed for a Purpose, and it's a women's conference. It's the first of an annual conference that will take place from here on out until it's done. But the idea for the conference, the purpose for the conference is to switch the community back to a place of health and wholeness. In our community in Philadelphia, women make up 57.2% of the population. That's already a majority. And a lot of us as women are doing what we can do as women, broken, fractured, addicted, facing economic woes, in situations where relationships are abusive, single mothers, elderly, but we make up that population. So in my mind, and in those of the committee members and other people that I am connected to that believe in supporting women, if we address the issues that we as women have in the community and bring us to a place of wholeness, or on at least a path to healing, we would see such great productivity in what we are able to do as a community, because we make up the greater number of population. So Women Healed for a Purpose is its name. We at For the Byrds Consulting put together annual events of support of women and women's issues that will help them continue on their path of healing, so that they can operate in the gifts and talents and abilities that they have that will add to the community.
I remember talking to you in the beginning of when you wanted to start this conference, and just to see how much has grown and the things that you have provided and all the people that you have in place. Just knowing that this will heal me personally. I've gone through so much, being a woman, being somebody with a disability, and seeing what you have on the agenda and seeing all the things you have in place. I'm really excited for this conference. And I started off just volunteering for it, and then now I'm one of a part of this conference. It's amazing.
And I'm very grateful, Stacie. I'm very grateful. I also have Deneice Brown, who is also, like I said, the president of the Greater Philadelphia chapter, and she's also one of the speakers for the event, as well as Gabrielle being one of the speakers for the event and a committee member. And I'd like to give them an opportunity to say what made them say yes to their roles and their positions.
You took the questions right out my mouth. So let's go to Deneice first. Deneice, what made you even say yes to being a speaker, and what are your thoughts about what's coming on to this conference?
Well, first of all, I'm always in support of something that I feel is going to help the community, whether it's a community when you're talking about women, whether you're talking about African Americans or people of color, whether you're talking about people living in impoverished neighborhoods, whether you're talking about people with disabilities. And so I felt when LyVette spoke to me that she felt that I had something to give. I felt that she felt that I had something that people needed to hear. So in me coming to this event, I feel like I'm going to, say what I feel will empower the ladies, say what I feel will help the ladies to heal. Tell them about some of the barriers that I have had in my life and how I have overcome them. Tell them about the barriers that I've had that took a long time to overcome, because things don't happen overnight. And I want people to know that. But just be there in a way to let the ladies know that it will come. If you have faith, and I am a very spiritual person, I believe in the God above, and that he didn't bring me here for nothing. There was no mistake the way that I made. I'm a blind woman. I'm an African-American blind woman. I was made that way for a purpose. And I just feel that I in my mind right now, I know which story I'm going to lead them to. And I'm just hoping that somebody in there gets it and can continue on to becoming whole after I'm done.
I think it's important too, Deneice, that folks really need to see somebody else who has gone through things. And just like with things within the NFB, when you see blind folks who have jobs and who are doing things, and you're newly blind and you think you can't do anything and you sit at home all day, and then you see folks that are out and about going to work and doing sorts of things, it just gives you, hey, if they can do it, I can do it as well.
Yes, it's part of that. You need to see yourself in somebody else to really believe that it can happen.
I also like that that you said that it doesn't happen overnight, because today so many people think you snap your finger and boom, it's done. It's not instant gratification. Like when you post something on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, it takes time to break down barriers and to get things done. And folks need to know that as well. So that's also good.
Yes.
I really like that you said, you're made for a purpose, with everything that you have, you're made for a purpose. And that's what us, women need to understand as well. We're made for a purpose. Despite our challenges, our successes, our ups and our downs, we're all made for a purpose.
Definitely. To put it another way, God doesn't make mistakes.
So, Gabrielle, going to you, what made you say yes? And I know, knowing you from a personal level, this would be your first time talking about your story. What are your emotions behind that?
Well, as far as what made me say yes, my mother and my relationship over the years has been a constant roller coaster ride. We have had ups, we've had downs, we've had agreements and disagreements, but with a lot of what has gone on in both of our lives, I'll say the past 10 years, a lot of it has brought us closer together. And because of those different things, we share a lot more with each other. And so when she first brought this to my attention, I was immediately like, that is amazing. Women need this. This is great. And then seeing all the different things she wanted to do with it and all of the people she wanted to have available, I wanted to help in any way I could. But I certainly didn't know what that meant, right? I'm like, okay, well, I have some advice, I might have some ideas, but never did I think I'd be able to put any of those into play. And then from there, after having more conversations and then my own private time, meditation and prayer with my own story, was like, okay, maybe I have something that I too could share. I am only 30 years old, and although I've not experienced life in its entirety or nearly as much life as other individuals, I feel like some different things that I've gone through in the past 5 years specifically, could be eye-opening, could bring awareness to some things, could help somebody else in my generation, in my shoes, get through those things. So I presented her with me being one of the speakers, and we brought it to the committee, and everybody pretty much was for it. So that was a blessing in itself. I'm a little nervous because although I've shared some of my story before with different people in passing, this will be a larger group, and I will be front and center, which is difficult for me. It's different when it's just a one-on-one conversation with somebody. And I am a big person who believes I consider myself a safe space, and other individuals consider me a safe space as well. And so, one thing I've begun to do in my life when I'm speaking to different people is as they share parts of them with me, I share parts of me with them to let them know this is a safe space. I appreciate you opening, that door of you to me. And by showing my acceptance of that and appreciation of that, I share myself as well. So I'm looking forward to the conference and the different people who will be coming. I'm looking forward to the beautiful catalog of women who will be speaking. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. Even my mom, outside of her being my mother, believing that my story too can be of a help and could heal somebody potentially, is just an amazing thing. So I'm excited. I'm nervous, and I can't wait to see the turnout.
Now, you're also the webmaster of the website, and that's for the birdsconsulting.org. How did you get involved in doing that? Is that something you do professionally, or is that just something that you thought you would be able to handle?
Funny you should say that, David. That is absolutely not something I do professionally. It's one of those things where after having conversation with my mom and Stacie, I was like, sure, I'll help out in any way I can. And I'm the seeing person. Stacie has the knowledge of web design. So we'll work together to see how this goes. And it was literally me just listening to her advice and different things and me playing around. I like social media. So that helps. Me being nosy helps. And so putting all of those things together, and then more importantly, just wanting it to be a vision that my mom would be proud of. I wanted it to be something she would feel like she put her hand in, she did. And although we have a lot in common, we differ in a lot of different ways. I kept her in mind throughout the whole process. So I was just happy that she was happy with it. And, I felt like down the line, I'll still play around with it and see what more I can do and figure out. But ultimately, it was just her being in mind that made me give it my absolute best. So I'm glad it turned out good.
Yeah, it certainly is something easy to get through. I had a look through the other day, and I went through with VoiceOver to see how it was, and for the most part, it's very accessible. So there's a lot of good things there.
And making it accessible for those who are visually impaired, Stacie is the one who brought that to my attention and helped me maneuver how to do those things. And I can honestly say, after I first went through and started working on some definitions of different things, and then I went to the hard copy of the website and listened in, it truly made me emotional. As a sighted person, number one, I wear glasses and I have my entire life, because although I am not blind, I am visually impaired, and legally I have to wear glasses all day, every day. But to know that technology has come such a far way where we can create a website or any kind of work of art or anything, and you guys, we have the accessibility to give the descriptions and different things. I had to take a pause because it was absolutely amazing and absolutely beautiful. To watch how something I put together made it easier for other people to access it and view it. So I was grateful because on the one hand of me doing my best to create something for other people, I was learning in the process as well. So it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, I think it came out very well done. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I want to say that I am so over the moon. When I looked at that website, and I don't even know what I expected. I think I had for myself, not as great an expectation for this website. I thought we were just going to do something really streamlined, simplistic, click here, just so we can get these registrations and give some information. And when I saw how beautiful it looked And I was clicking into everything. And then even after the first wave of changes came, because I was like, can we add this? Can we take this away? Can we do this? Can we do this? And then Gabrielle sent me a text, done. I'm like, well, that was just 15 minutes ago. What did you do in 15 minutes? And then go back and see that it was changed. Amazing. And this is what I'm hoping to get out of the conference, David. I'm hoping that women will attend this conference, have an aha moment in their current experience, and either continue on the path of journey of healing and then find some purpose, or at this conference have the aha moment and they are willing to try something they've never tried before. Maybe they're in the middle of making a decision that will change the rest of their life, and they just needed to hear this one thing that's going to help them push them in that direction. If that happens, like rockets going off or firecrackers going off in this room, I could look at this conference as it being a success. If it happens with one woman, at least one woman, then it is worth all that we have done to get it to this point. But I already know it's happened more than once already. If you just look at the committee members, how long they've been with the committee and the work that they've done, they've all already have had aha moments. They all already have aha moments. One of the things that I've said to the committee, a lot of the women that are in this committee are either women that are currently in business. That means they're currently registered as a business in Pennsylvania and or another state, or they have ideas that they currently function in, that they do, that could become a business. One of the things that I've done is look for resources by which they can either finish their paperwork so that they can become a business in good standing, and or help revamp what they have going on. Between now and the date of conference, any of that happen with any of those women, the conference will also be used as a relaunching pad for some, or a launch pad for any and everybody on the committee that has that business, because everybody's got to grow. It can't just be LyVette. There's some things that happen in life that may allow your right hand be a little bit bigger than your left hand. But for the most part, the body all grows in one movement, but just to the capacity of its function. So if one person is the only one benefiting, it's not a very functional body. And that's why I want to create a space where we're all growing together. We're all growing together, and everybody is getting something out of the deal. Not that we're at the table making bargains across the table like that, but everybody's growing, and they're going, and they're being great, and they're experiencing life the way it's supposed to be for them. And when that happens, then it's like I don't know what you call it, like not like ping pong, because that's just back and forth and it's just two people, but it's like one person and another person and another person and
dominoes.
Domino. Thank you. That's real good. It become a domino effect. And it's like it can keep on going. I've seen some elaborate displays of dominoes, so it can keep on going. And that's the purpose of this here conference. That's going to be a standing annual event that For the Byrds Consulting does on their community service side of it. That it's going to be a standing event, and we haven't gotten this one out the door yet, and we've already started planning for next year, and I'm excited about next year too. So that's what it's supposed to be. I'm convinced it's going to be that way, and everybody's going to go, woo!
Now, there are two components to the conference. You could either join live at the event, or you can join via Zoom. Was that something that you did intentionally? Was it originally planned to just do on Zoom, and somebody said, hey, let's do it also live? How did that all come about?
Intentionally, let me tell you, originally, David, I'm glad you asked this question. Originally, David, I was just going to do this little mini conference for a nice little bit of 15, 20, maybe 30 people, and a nice little venue, have a little couple, some snacks and some things like that. And it was going to be wonderful. And it was going to be in person. And it was going to be so nice. I wasn't doing any advertisement for it other than, word of mouth. That's the original thing. And then it grew to something that I truly could never have done in a million years by myself. So then it grew to be a bigger thing. So the venue that I'm holding it in, Germantown Church for the Brethren Fellowship Hall, can hold up to 120 people. And I said, well, I'm not going to need it for 120 people, but let's book it anyway, right? And then the idea was brought to the table that says, well, let's do a little bit of advertising for it and then see how many people come. And I was like, okay, well, we can do that. And then once we went that way, it was like, okay, well, if we invite this speaker and this speaker and this speaker, well, that's a significant amount of time. We got to feed these people. We can't just give them snacks. And then it went into a full buffet, sit down luncheon. And I'm like, okay. So then we had to keep track of people. So we needed to do registration. And when Stacie said, we were at a birthday party, Stacie and I, and Deneice. And we sat down and Stacie said, are you doing Zoom too? Are you offering it Zoom? I was like, no, I'm not. Absolutely not. She's like, oh, well, why not? And I said, who has the manpower, the money, or the capabilities of doing that? I can't do that. I'm not offering it. And she sat at that table and went to her calendar, asked me the date again, and then said, I'll do it for you. And I think I cried for 40 minutes, maybe more. Because the truth of the matter is, David, and I am a spiritual person, I'm a Christian, and I walk and work my faith. I was doing this conference out of sheer belief and obedience that this is what God wanted me to do. And the bigger it got, I kept saying, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. But the truth of the matter is, I was looking at my own limitations. But when I put a committee together and everybody brought their gifts and talents and abilities to the table, it was no longer just me doing it. We were doing it. And it's become something that is already mine, belonging to me. I wouldn't have never thought that I would do it in person and Zoom and then have the opportunity. So I went to the NFB convention and I met with a man, Vashawn Jones. I met him. And he said he also does a number of things and he has a number of podcasts. And so for next year, he's going to be the person that does the Zoom because Stacie can't do it. She's my executive secretary now. But in talking to him, he wanted to do an interview about just what we're doing now, talking about the business and talking about the conference. And we've already done our first interview. And he reaches an audience of maybe 20,000 or more. God knows where White Canes connect. I know it goes all over the globe. And it's already something that is out of control of just being me.
The Zoom aspect just opens it exponentially to
Yes.
so many people. Again, folks that are in the Philadelphia area can easily travel to get there. And even if they're in Baltimore or New York and they want to be there live, that's a fairly easy commute. But somebody out in Harrisburg or out in the western end of the state or wherever else they may be listening, Florida, California, wherever, Canada, the UK, can all participate in this. And again, it just opens it exponentially and can just help it grow as years come on. And that's one thing that I think everybody has bad things to say about the pandemic, but that is one thing that has opened a lot of folks' eyes to is you don't have to reach just the people in your neighborhood or in your city. You can reach the entire world with the technology that we have now.
You're right. And I'm grateful.
You also have some other features that you're featuring at the conference, such as merchandise and swag bags. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we're giving every woman that's in attendance a swag bag. It's a bag with goodies in it. It's going to have some like stress toys and things like that, but it's also going to be equipped with a lot of material and information. We're talking about women healed for a purpose. So any and every way that we can imagine healing needing to be had by women will be in this swag bag. And so we'll have materials there. We're having resources there. Each woman that is coming and presenting that has a business and or business opportunity or any information, that information goes inside the swag bag. And we're also doing a virtual swag bag for everybody that attends, especially those that are attending via Zoom. They're going to get this wonderful thank you email sent to them. And in that email will be the list of all the resources that we have in person in that bag online. So they can just click for any of the resources necessary that they see and find or heard about that'll be in that swag bag. We have other ministry offerings. We have 7 speakers, to which Gabrielle and Deneice are 2 of the 7 speakers that will be there. But we're going to have someone minister in song, and that's someone else that's also a member of the National Federation for the Blind, Keystone Chapter. She'll be ministering to us in song, and that's Esther Gilliard. And then we have a featured dancer that's going to minister and dance as well. She just happens to be someone I'm familiar with, Lydia Robinson. She is my granddaughter's dance teacher. She has her own studio, her own school called Snapco, and she has agreed to also lend her gifts in ministry and dance. And we know that there's going to be a significant population of individuals that'll be in attendance that will have a vision challenge. But between offering audio, song, and then for those that are attending that can see, to be able to see expressions of movement, all relaying, all saying the same thing, that women are healed for a purpose, and it comes across in a certain way, is what we're trying to give it to them just like they need it. If you need it and you have sight and you need it to be given to you that way, through vision, if you need it from hearing, however you need it as a woman, we're trying to get it across to you so that the message can be loud and clear. So those are just some of the offerings. We're doing raffles. We have a raffle. Oh my goodness, someone donated a smart TV, a large smart TV, and we're raffling that off as well. We're doing giveaways, raffles, and we're just promoting a wonderful time of fellowship. And the catering
menu.
Oh, yeah. We have Thai Soul Food Catering who's doing the buffet, and we have 4 different protein options. We have everything for everybody. If you're a vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free individual, and or someone that doesn't mind a little meat every now and then, we have something for you. And it's a full spread. You have that, salads, desserts, beverages. He's doing the whole thing, and I'm very, very grateful. We kind of held interviews for caterers. We put out a request for proposal, and he's giving us everything we didn't ask for in the kitchen sink at a much more reasonable price. And when I asked him why he would do such a thing, and he said that this was an assignment for him as well. And, there has been, to be transparent, a time or two throughout this journey of this conference that I felt a little discouraged and was almost ready to give up. And he is one of the individuals that said, you're not going to mess up my blessing by giving up. We're going to make this thing happen. I don't care how we do it. And that's the kind of committee that we have, and a teamwork that we have, accountability that we have, a transparency that we have amongst the committee that help us keep us doing what we're doing. And it's for a greater purpose. And that's why we keep doing it, because the purpose just doesn't lie in our hands or in our laps. This committee of 8 or 9 people, it goes far more reaching than that.
I also wanted to point out, David, for any and everybody who registers on the website, there's also a link for them to get t-shirts that say Women Heal for a Purpose. And all of that information is also listed on the website for the birdsconsulting.org. I can honestly say, for past events my mother has put together, just her persona and how she comes off overall, she's made connections with people that can last a lifetime in different parts of the country. And I think this event will just be that on a greater scale. I look forward to the different women that I will see who will be speaking, but also the women that will just come in attendance and learning what all of them have to offer, and seeing how it's a network opportunity for everybody involved. And, different things she's done in the past those women are now part of this event. And so I can only imagine how next year and the year after that will be with all of these new connections that'll take place after this event.
Deneice, do you know some of the folks who are speaking? Do you know them before now, or is it folks that you have just met?
The people that are speaking are people that I do not know. So I'm going to be, I already have a network of people. So now my network is even going to spread even larger.
Deneice brings all of herself to it, and that's what I'm grateful for. Like she said, she has a network of people, and that's how we grow. That's how we grow. And I'm not even just talking about in numbers and things like that. It's just each person is a resource to healing in some way, shape, and form. That's what it all comes back to me, is a resource for healing. I might not need it. Like I might not need a foot doctor, but I know 5 of them picked.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, that's how we do it. I might not need anybody to cut my grass. I live in a gated community, but I know 10 of those picked.
Right.
And it opens up the world for everybody.
Yeah, my brother has a saying, when I eat, we all eat. And I think this is that in full fruition.
We are talking so much about the conference content, but we don't know the conference logistics. Where is it? When is it?
Women Heal for the Purpose Conference will be held at Germantown Church of the Brethren, 6611 Germantown Avenue, 19119. It's in the Germantown section of the city. It's actually technically Mount Airy, like 3 blocks down. It's Germantown. We're just 3 blocks into Mount Airy, but it's still considered the Germantown area. It's on the other side of Upsall. If you're coming north, it's on the other side of Upsall and Germantown. And if you're coming south, it's just below the fire station, which everybody knows the fire station and the bus depot that's there. It's well connected. Like I said, the 23 goes by there. You can easily walk a block or 2 in either direction and catch an 18. The 18 bus also is not far from there. Totally accessible. So no matter what your resources are, they have plenty of on the street parking. They have limited space in front of the church, the fellowship hall rather. For parking, but that's specifically for someone that needs it for wheelchairs and or the host of the venue, because they're bringing in things to unload and load. But there's plenty of street parking also available. October 22nd from 11 to 5, and it's a wonderful time to be had by all.
And how about ticket prices?
If you're doing in person, the ticket prices are $75. That includes your meal. It includes the venue offerings that you have in person for $75. And if you're doing Zoom audio only, it is $35 registration for that.
Also, are you looking for any volunteers to help out with this event if anyone wants to help out?
Absolutely. We are looking for volunteers. Right now, our volunteer coordinator, we call her Lily, her name is Elena. But we can give you a phone number. Our phone number is 215-688-5199. That's 215-688-5199. That's our office line. And if you are interested in volunteering for that event, we have roles for hosts, for servers, for we need some specific breakdown at the end of the conference, some specific things that we need help doing. But if you're interested in volunteering, please reach out to us. We will be more than glad to have you.
And what about other questions? Do you have an email address that folks can shoot you an email if they have questions?
Yes, the email address is ftbcevents@forthebyrdsconsulting.org.
And again, we'll have both the phone number and the email address in the show notes, so it'll be just a one tap or one click away for getting in touch with you folks for the event. Is there anything, LyVette, that you want to pass along that we haven't asked?
Women Healed for a Purpose is one event. And then the John Awareness Walk is another event that we have annually in July. And those are the two annual events. And the John Awareness Walk brings awareness and support of other individuals that support people with disabilities. That's a unique place because not everybody, is as supportive, right? But then when you have those that are advocates and supports of those individuals with rights and accessibility, and they believe that they can just more than survive, they can thrive, then it's a great thing. And so we had our first annual walk this year in July, and we'll have our second walk in July. So those are the two events that we have that service the community currently.
I also want to put it out there that we accept different donations from sponsors. I myself have an organization I've put together called Faith That Works. And we put together some care packages for the homeless a year or two ago. And it was an amazing turnout. And we got great feedback from that. But for anyone who has a business of any kind or an organization that they would like to get some kind of attention or whatever, this is a great opportunity for sponsorships or donations. And we also send out thanks and gratitudes for that, and hope to build relationships with other businesses and organizations as well.
And how would someone contact you as far as that stuff goes?
They could use FTBC events at Byrds Consulting.org. That can also be the email for that.
I'm just looking forward to how many ladies will be coming in and how many people will be listening to us on Zoom. And just, as LyVette said, this is going to be an annual event, and we really want to kick off the very first one with a bang. So let's get ready.
I want to thank all three of you for coming on today and giving us all this great information about what sounds like a great event in the planning. And I wish you the best of luck with it, LyVette.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity and for allowing us to share about the event today.
Thanks again to LyVette, Deneice, and Gabrielle for coming on and telling us all about the conference. A lot of great things happening there. The food options sound great too. So I can't imagine not wanting to be there in person if you're in the Philadelphia area.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a jam-packed agenda, really motivational, inspirational. Like you said, great food. And they seem to have a lot of great resources that's going to be in place for everybody that's going to be in attendance.
Yeah, I'm interested to, once everything is settled, to see what the swag bag has in it and things like that. So we'll have to follow up with LyVette, and I'm sure you'll let us know as we move forward. But a lot of great things coming from that conference.
Yes, and I'm definitely going to buy a t-shirt.
We have a couple of great ways that you can get in touch with us. And we'd love to hear your feedback, your questions, show ideas, any kind of tips you may have for things that you do around the house or out and about that may help other blind folks. You can give us a call at 267-338-4495. Again, 267-338-4495. You've got up to 3 minutes to leave your contact information, name, town, if that's all you want to do. And your tip, your question, your comment, your feedback, whatever you've got, we'd love to hear from you.
And if you're not a phone person, you can definitely email us at whitecanesconnect@gmail.com. Again, with any show ideas, any comments, feedbacks, good or bad, and just anything that you want to add to make this podcast better.
Stacie, thanks so much for sitting in for Lisa. You did a great job today.
Oh, thank you for always having me.
And thanks everyone out there for listening.
Bye.